Hello everyone. In the previous class we have started the unit 2. Within this we have discussed about black box testing techniques. Within the black box testing techniques, the first one is requirement based testing. This requirement based testing we have discussed in the previous session. In today's session we will start positive and negative testing. First we will see what is meant by positive testing. Here positive testing is done to verify the known test conditions. Here known test conditions means whatever we know, that known test conditions we are going to verify is called as positive testing. Here positive testing tries to prove that a given product does what it is supposed to do. When a test case verifies the requirements of the expected output, it is called as a positive test case. See here, when a test case verifies the requirements of the product with a set of expected output is called as a positive test case. The purpose of positive testing is to prove that the product works as per specification and expectations. A product delivering an error when it is expected to give an error is also a part of positive testing. Positive testing can thus said to check the product's behavior for positive and negative conditions as stated in the requirement. We will take the example. The example is the same lock and key example. First we will see the positive test case. The first column shows the requirement number. The second column shows the input 1 and the second input 2, and the fourth column shows the current state, and the fifth column shows the expected output. See here, black box requirement testing 1. Here what input we are providing, the key number 1 2 3 4 5 6 is the input, means this is the positive testing. Input 1 we are providing. If you are using your key number, for example 7 8 line 9, like this, if you are using, that is the negative testing. Therefore here we are using the specific key number, that is 1 2 3 4 5 6. When you turn it clockwise it should unlock, and what is the expected output? It should be locked one. See here, input 1 is you are using the specific number 1 2 3 4 5 6, and what is the input you are providing? You are turning that key into the clockwise. When the current state is unlocked, it will be locked. That is the expected output. Next, what is the second one? That is another input you can give here is the same specific key, that is 1 2 3 4 5 6 numbered key. When you turn it clockwise, when it is locked, means when the current state is locked, and when you turn it clockwise again, there will not be change in the output, that is no change. Next we will see the black box testing requirement 2. When the input is the key numbered 1 2 3 4 5 6, and the input 2 is, you are going to turn that key into the anti-clockwise direction. If the current state is locked, then it will be unlocked, means the expected output is unlocked. And next we will see the same key number, that is black box requirement testing 2. The key number is 1 2 3 4 5 6. Again, when you turn it anti-clockwise, if it is locked, will unlock. If it is unlocked one, it will not change. These are the positive test cases. We will see the another one, that is black box testing requirement 4. That is when you use the hairpin as the input 1, and when you turn it clockwise, when this is the input 2, when the current state is locked, then expected is no change. With the help of hairpin also, it's possible to lock and unlock. When you turn it clockwise, the current state is locked, then there will be no change. These are some positive test cases. Here we will see the negative test cases. Before that, we will see the definition of negative testing. Here negative testing is done to break the product with unknowns. Means here we are trying to break the product with the unknown conditions is called as the negative testing. We will take the example that is lock and key example. Before this we will discuss in detail. Negative testing is done to show that the product does not fail when an unexpected input is given. The purpose of negative testing is to try and break the system. Negative testing covers scenarios for which the product is not designed and coded. Here in negative testing, the input values may not have been represented in the specification of the product. These test conditions can be termed as unknown conditions for the product. Therefore, a negative test case would be a product not delivering an error when it should, or delivering an error when it should not. Therefore, a negative testing is done to break product with the unknowns. Let us take an example. It gives the negative test cases for the lock and key example. You can see in the slide here total 4 columns are there, that is input 1, input 2, current state and the expected output. These are the 4 columns. The first column is input 1. Here we are going to provide the first input. Here what is the first input? Some other locks key, means we are not using the specific numbered key. Here we are using the other numbered key, that is other locks key we are going to use. What is the input 2? We are going to turn it clockwise. When the current state is lock, the expected output is also lock, because here we are using other number. That's one. And the second one is some other locks key, means when you are going to use the other locks key, when you turn it and when the current state is unlocked, then the expected output is also unlocked only. There is no change. And the third one is thin piece of wire. You can use the wire when you turn it anti-clockwise. If the current state is unlocked, then the expected output is also unlocked. Means both are same. Next, when you hit with a stone, current state lock, expected output also lock. Means in the negative testing, your system break with unknowns. See here, these inputs are unknowns, means you are not using the specific key, you are using the wire, you are hitting with the stone. When you hit with the stone, then also it should not unlock, it should lock only. These are negative test cases by which your system should not break. See here, the difference between positive testing and negative testing is in their coverage. For positive testing, if all documented requirements and test conditions are covered, then it is considered to be 100%. If the specifications are very clear, then coverage can be achieved. There is no end to negative test, and 100% coverage in negative testing is not possible. Negative testing creativity among the testers. This is about all positive and negative testing. Next we will see next technique, that is boundary value analysis. What is meant by boundary value analysis? Here we can see the two terms, that is conditions and boundaries. What is meant by condition and what is meant by boundary? See here, conditions and boundaries are two major sources of defects in a software product. Conditions and boundaries are the two major sources of defects in software product. Most of the defects in the software products come around conditions and boundaries. Means those defects float around the conditions and boundaries. First we will see what is meant by condition. Conditions means situations wherein, based on the values of various variables, certain actions would have to be taken. Conditions means where the situation is, means it contains the different values on the various variables. Certain actions would have to be taken on those variables. What is meant by boundaries? Boundaries means limits of values of the various variables. See here, conditions means values of the variables. Boundaries means limits of values of the various variables. Conditions means based on the values of various variables. Boundaries means limits of values of various variables. Boundary value analysis, BVA. Boundary value analysis is useful to generate test cases when the input or output data is made up of clearly identifiable boundaries or ranges. Means when you know the conditions and boundaries, this will be very helpful. That is boundary value analysis. We will take one example based on the boundary value analysis. See here, uh, most of us would be familiar with the concept of volume discounts when we buy goods. See here, when we value discounts, that is buy 3 get 1 free, buy 1 get 1 free, like this. Here we will take one example, that is buy one packet of chips. Buy one packet of chips at 2 rupees, but 3 for 5 rupees. It becomes economical for the buyer to buy in bulk. From the seller's point of view also, it is economical to sell in bulk because the seller incurs less of storage and inventory costs and has a better cash flow. Let us consider one more example here. We will take consider when you are going to buy a pen. First 10 pens. Consider per pen 5 rupees. For first pen 10 pens, they are going to consider 5 rupees only. Means for 10 pens 50 rupees. Next 10 pens means when you are 15 pens or 20 pens, you reduce 25 paisa per pen, means they are going to consider 4 rupees 75 paisa per pen. Again, when you take the next 10 pens, means when you are going to buy 21 pens or 25 pens, again they are going to reduce 25 paisa, means the per pen costs 4 rupees 50 paisa. When you are going to buy 21 pens, that is 21th pen is going to considered as 4 rupees 50 paisa. If you are going to buy more than those will be costs as 4 rupees. See here, from this table it is clear that if we buy 5 pens, we need to pay 5 rupees each, means 5 into 5, 25 rupees. If we buy 11 pens, what will happen? For the first 10 pen we are going to pay 5 rupees, and the 11th pen we are going to pay 4.75 paisa. Means the total amount is, you can first 10 pen 5 rupees, you can see here first 10 pen 5 rupees, and the last pen, that is 11th pen, is 4.75. For only one pen they are going to consider as 4.75, and the remaining pens 5 rupees only. See here, if you are buying 11 pens, first pen pens first 10 pens are considered 5 only, the 11th pen is considered as 4.75 paisa. The total amount is 73.75 rupees. Analyze the boundary values. We will take one the same example here. Boundary values for the value. The previous example. See here, you can see at the time boundary means limit. See here, for the beginning of the first slab, means for the first pen 5 rupees, and for the if you the 5 pens also, then 25 rupees. Just below the second slab or just the end of the first slab, means if you buy 9 pens also 5 rupees, if you buy 10 pen also 5 rupees, means 10 into 5 50 rupees. But if you buy 11th pen, you can see here, if you buy the 11th pen, you are going to reduce 25 paisa. You can see here 54.7, means this is the place where the boundaries are here we need to apply the conditions. Here in the same way, you can see here in these place the boundary values going to occur. In the same way here also the boundary values are going to discounts at the boundaries. We will take one more example, that is various test cases of buffer management. What is meant by buffer here? Buffer is a memory. Consider you are going to try to insert the data in the memory. The first case is all the buffers are free for use, means you can insert as many data as into the buffer when all are free. In the first case all buffers are free, you can use these buffers to insert the data. You can see the second case, after inserting two buffers and still have free buffers, means you're going to insert the data into the first two buffers, then also there are free buffers, so you can insert the data. You can see the case 3, after inserting the last available buffer, no free buffers, means you are going to insert the data in all buffers. Now there is no free buffer to insert the new data. You can see the fourth case, no free buffers and new buffer is coming in, first buffer needs freeing, means all the buffers are full. If you want to insert the new data, you need to free the first buffer, means you need to delete the data in the first buffer where the boundary values are going to exist. You can see here in most cases most likely to find the defects, where the defects are going to arise when the buffer is full, that time the defects are arising, or when you need to insert a new buffer, at that time which buffer you want to free, that time the boundary values or the defects are going to arise. This is also one example for the boundary value analysis. Therefore boundary value analysis is used when the input data is made up of clearly identifiable boundaries or ranges. This is about boundary value analysis.